Hello everyone, it is KiwiGumdrop and I am back with another Create a Sim story time. Today I'm going to be telling you the story of Boyd and Bisman Morrison. They are a happily married couple, but before I get to how they had their happy ending, I'm gonna go back into the past and talk about their college days. So Boyd, as you see, he's very creative, he's very fun, kind of nerdy. His dream is to become an artist, and that's what he went to college for. He had a huge passion and he wanted to learn more about painting specifically, but he also wanted to learn about the digital arts. And so he went to college to gain that new experiences and to gain new skills. He's also a very ambitious person, so going to college kind of helped him network with new people and find new people to work with, as long as new people to just hang out with on the day-to-day basis, because another trait of his is that he's very active, so he likes to go and do a lot of things. He likes to, volunteer for different places. He also likes to play sports. He joined the baseball team at his college. He's very out there, likes to try new things, likes to learn about new cultures, and he gains those experiences which then give him inspiration for his art, which I find really cute and amazing. So when Boyd went to university, he never really saw himself finding love there. He's a little insecure about, although he's outgoing, he doesn't feel like he's necessarily attractive, even though that is obviously proven wrong. He is so attractive, not just externally, but also internally with his bubbly and sweet personality. So I'm going to talk to you about how he met his husband. We're going to talk about their love story and how it kind of progressed. So in college, Boyd, like I said, liked to do lots of things and join lots of activities, especially around the university. So one night, him and his friends were bored. It was a Thursday night, and they were like, what can we do? So they decided to go to a fun poetry club, or a poetry speaking, I guess I should call it. And that is where Boyd met Bisman. So Bisman was actually out and performing that day. He performed some spoken poetry, and of course Boyd, it was like love at first sight. He was like, this man is so handsome, his long hair, his beautiful poetry. One thing you should know about Bisman is that he's very articulate, so he's a very sweet talker. He knows exactly what to say and when to say it, and Boyd was like, I need to talk to this guy, like I'm so inspired by him, I want to paint him. And so, of course, Boyd, being the bubbly person that he is, goes up to Bisman after his show and is like, hey, I love your hair and I would like to know if you could sit down so I can paint you sometime. And, Bisman is like trying to be nice. Bisman doesn't like to stir up any trouble. He doesn't like to cause any conflict. And although Bisman is a bit shy, he was like, you know what? Sure. Like, we go to the same university. What can I lose? And you seem like a really nice guy. So he was like, oh, great. Well, me and my friends are here, so let's go get some drinks. So Bisman ended up going with Boyd to a small little cafe, and they had some lattes. We're just talking, and Bisman was asking Boyd about his artwork, and Boyd was asking Bisman about his poetry. And it turns out that Bisman just did poetry for fun. It wasn't anything that he was very passionate about. It was more like a hobby, not a career, and he kind of just did it for some extra credit points for his poetry class. And Boyd was a little discouraged. He was like, man, I thought this guy was like a poet, but he was still like, I really like this guy, he seems kind of nice. But the only thing was, Boyd didn't know if Bisman was really gay or not. So, he was just, being careful, making sure that he didn't ruffle any feathers, and was just being friendly, because that's the type of person Boyd is. He's very non-judgmental, he's very accepting of many people of all shapes, colors, sizes, identities. And so he was like, let me just keep getting to know him more. Even if we can't develop into a romantic way, we can develop in a friend way, because I feel like me and him could work together sometime with poetry and art. And they left that Thursday and they didn't talk for like maybe another 2 weeks. They finally found some time to sit down so that Boyd could paint him. And so, as Boyd is painting Bisman, he's like, having to look at all these beautiful details that Bisman has, the long hair, the sharp dry line, the nose, the eyes. And so this portrait of Bisman is something that's it's almost intimate, and it's like in this weird way of like romantically, but it's not anything like vulgar. It's just like being able to look at someone's facial structure and really analyze them. And that is what Boyd did. And when he drew the portrait, Bisman loved it. He was like, wow, Boyd, like, you're so talented. Thank you so much for doing this. I was kind of skeptical at first, but I really loved what you did with this painting. And so Boyd asks Bisman, I actually have an art competition coming up. Do you think I could submit this portrait of you? And Bisman was like, yeah, it's awesome. It's totally cool. And so that is when Boyd submitted it into the competition. And the results didn't come back for another 2 months or so. Bisman and Boyd stayed in touch, and Boyd actually won the competition. And, when he won, he kind of told Bisman, like, hey, like, I won, and there's a trip. We can go to the, this very famous San Myshuno art gallery showing, and I can showcase my art there. And he asked Bisman if he would like to come, since it is his portrait after all. And, Bisman isn't, like, super into art, but he was starting to gain some feelings for Boyd, but didn't really know how to express them. So he just said, yeah, I want to go to this art gallery with you, when in reality what Bisman really would like to say is, yeah, I want to go out with you. So they go to this art gallery showing, and Boyd is in his full form at this point, and he's like, I'm in my comfort zone, I'm with all these artsy people, Bisman is here with me, I'm just so happy, and I get to showcase my art. And a lot of the audience were like, are you guys like a couple? Like, this portrait is just so intimate, and it develops every little detail. And at the time Boyd was like, oh no, I just met him at this poet event, and it's nothing like that, yada yada. Because at this time, Boyd still doesn't know Bisman's sexuality. And the thing about Bisman is he doesn't really know his sexuality either. And now that we're on to Bisman right here, I'm decided to talk more about him. Bisman kind of has a bit of internalized homophobia, and he's really struggling with his sexuality and openly being a gay male. So he's like, he's beginning to develop these feelings for Boyd, but he doesn't really know how to express them, and he's kind of like ashamed of the feelings, if that makes sense. And so, he kind of tries to hide it, but he's still, wanting to see Boyd often and kind of missing him when they're not around. And this kind of goes for all of their college years, for all the way up till senior year. He still never really confesses to Boyd. And after college they graduate and they kind of separate ways. They don't talk. Right now they're about 25, 26. They don't talk for another 2 or so years. But when Bisman turns 28 years old, he actually is just out at a cafe. Bisman ends up just working a simple business job, nothing special, and that is when he sees Boyd again, and that kind of resurfaces some old feelings that he felt for Boyd. And Boyd comes and says hi, because you know how outgoing he is, and he's like, hey Bisman, like, long time no see, it's been forever. They catch up and talk about what they've been doing. Boyd has actually moved to San Myshuno as an artist, and he is doing really well for himself. He has some pretty good art pieces out there in some pretty prominent museums. And, Bisman is doing what he always wanted to do. He's very, typical businessman. He didn't really, he just wants to be successful, but he didn't really have like a craft that he wanted to specify in. And they talk and they start meeting some more, and finally Bisman is just like, hey, like, I know I never really talked to you about this, but what if you think we could be more than just friendly with each other? And, of course Boyd is ecstatic, because Boyd has liked Bisman since freshman year of college, and he's like, wow, I've been waiting for you to say something like this whole time. I just never knew that you didn't, like, that you even liked guys. And Bisman was like, yeah, I was kind of dealing with a lot of things back in college, but I'm kind of, learned to love myself and just accept myself as I am. And, I feel like we have a great connection, and I just want to be with you. And of course they say yes. So they begin to date. And of course they are obviously soulmates, so they were meant to be together. They get married at around 30, and this is where this is being drawn. So they're about 30 years old at this point, both pretty successful in their careers. And Bisman, he is like, I want a family. And Boyd, is out doing his art stuff. He's kind of busy, but, after being married and, living a great life, they have a great home. And, although Boyd no longer lives in San Myshuno, he's in quick travels there. He lives more in the suburb area. They have a nice home, 3 bedrooms, a nice lawn, plenty of space to develop, and he's just in love. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. But like I was saying, they're both settled down, they're both very successful, and, Bisman just wants to now, pass that on to children he wants to adopt. And he is kind of nervous about telling Boyd. And although Bisman is such this articulate, sweet talker, handyman, he kind of has trouble talking to Boyd. He kind of gets shy around Boyd, and I just find that so cute of he knows he can be himself with Boyd, and so sometimes he gets a little nervous. And Bisman sits Boyd down sometime and is like kind of giving him subtle hits, sometimes how when someone really wants something but they don't know how to tell their spouse, they leave little hints around. So Bisman is sitting on the couch with Boyd, showing him pictures on his social media of his friends having kids, and is like, what do you think about that, Boyd? And Boyd isn't against it, but Boyd has never really Boyd has always been on his own, so he's never really had a desire for a family. And Bisman is a huge family man. He wants to have 3 or 4 kids. He wants to be this super amazing dad with these super successful children. And so I find it really cute. And they're still hashing that out. So at this point in time, they haven't really decided if they are going to go through the adoption process. Bisman is still trying to gain the courage to tell Boyd, hey, I want a family. And Boyd is kind of oblivious to Bisman's wants. I feel like if Boyd knew how much Bisman wanted a child, that Boyd would be totally on board. But Bisman really hasn't spoken up yet. So I'm hoping he will speak up soon. And that's kind of where this story goes in, and he is just so bubbly and cute, and their marriage is just so adorable. They, are always going out. They have a weekly date night, and, they sit and they watch movies together, and, they talk about good times, and, both of their families are understanding of the situation. Bisman actually has, both parents in his life. While Boyd, wasn't really fond with his parents, they kind of, outcasted him when he came out to them. So Boyd isn't close with his family, but Bisman's family has kind of taken Boyd in as their son and is just so happy to have him in the family. And they're also so glad that Bisman finally was able to come out of his shell, and it's all thanks to Boyd. And, Boyd's enthusiastic, creative, attractive personality really helped Bisman kind of get out of his shell and stop him from being so cautious and, things like that. And I love how reliable Bisman is. He's a strong, hard-working businessman who is making great money and is helping support him and Boyd. And Boyd can hold his own, but Bisman is there when Boyd needs him, and that's what's so important and so genuine about their relationship. I'm personally hoping that Bisman can finally speak up to Boyd coming soon. I don't know if I'm gonna make a Let's Play out of these two, but I do want to check in on them, and they are on my gallery if you want to play them out however you want to. I will say that they are described as a married couple on my description, so and they are listed as husband and husband, so if you want to play out their love story, you might have to do a little changing and mess with their relationship status a little bit, but I'm just so in love. I'm so in love with them. Maybe even if they don't ever have a baby, maybe they could at least get a pup or a cat or something, because Bisman really wants to have successful lineage, and I think he'll be really heartbroken if he doesn't. And you know, who knows, that might create tension in the relationship if Boyd actually doesn't want kids and Bisman really does. I mean, you guys can write the story. I personally write it as Bisman and finally convinces Boyd to have a cute baby girl, and they just raise this baby girl as their own. Oh, it's just so cute, but it's really up to you guys. This is your story. I create these Sims for you, and you know, I try to tell you guys my stories because I just think of them and they just come to my head automatically. But yeah, Boyd and Bisman are a happy couple, and I'm just so proud of them. I'm so proud of them. And I just can't wait to see what happens. If you guys do, you know, download these Sims, please tell me how you guys create their stories. Tell me what type of children or pets they may get, or their careers. You know, tell me everything. I would love to know. And if you want to see more Create Sim story times like these, make sure to comment down below. I post bi-weekly, usually on Sundays and Tuesdays, and I try to post a Sims video every week or every other week, so make sure to come in and check those out. I do have a playlist of all the Sims videos I have done so far. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. I hope I'm getting better at this story timing and my simming, and I really do hope you guys enjoy all of this. Again, I want to thank you so much. Please make sure to like and subscribe and share. It really does help a lot for my channel. Let's try to get to 100 subscribers sometime soon, maybe. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.